Hi, I'm Darryl Braithwaite. Tonight, we're going to meet a guy with the most unlikely story in the music business. Greg Donovan has been called the accidental music promoter. 9 years ago, he organised a concert near the outback town of Birdsville. Population, 100. Now it's grown into one of the great music festivals in Australia. And wait till you hear the outlandish gamble he took to make it all happen.
Steve, this is Dad, just trying to scout you. I'm over near the Plaza stage.
Yep, I am in front of the Plaza stage towards Smith 5. 95 the radio.
They thought I was nuts. Anyone thinking you're going to put on this big festival in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, they thought I'd rock some head. Yeah, they thought I was going to blow it.
So we're going to open early?
Any issues if we open gates early? Does anyone have eyes on Greg Donovan security?
And I just thought it was a crazy situation where a guy who had no experience just created probably one of the most iconic music, festivals in the world.
Welcome, I'm Greg.
Nice to see you, Greg.
Yeah.
No one really thought we'd be able to attract Jimmy Barnes to this small, outback town in the middle of nowhere.
Charge of the Light Brigade.
It feels very unique, this festival. And because it's so far away from everything else, it really feels like you're all in it together.
This is gates open to the Big Red Bash. You can see they're all keen.
The risk that's taken by putting on a show where no show has ever been put on before is not to be underestimated. I think people outside the music industry might not understand just how unlikely Greg's success is.
I'd have to say I'd definitely be an accidental music promoter. It was no grand plans. I was a suit and tie guy for my whole career, and now I don't have to do that.
Oh, man, this is amazing. I love this gig so much.
Dragon!
Look, it was a huge gamble, but in the words of Kevin Costner, build it and they will come. Big Red Bash, I think it's proof yet again that a crazy person with an idea will always be able to find a place in showbiz.
What a place to come and play.
When we first arrive, one of the first things I do is drive out to the Big Red Dune and have a look at where it's all going to happen. Big Red is an iconic sand dune. It's the biggest sand dune in the Simpson Desert, 40 metres high. What you see is a big empty plain in front of the dune. It's a bit of peace before the chaos starts. And to know that within a week or so's time, you're going to see 10,000 people camped there, it's a bit mind-boggling. We're in a place where there's no power, there's no water, there's no sewerage, there's no communications. You're in the desert. The Big Red Bash is the most remote music festival on the planet. I mean, what we're doing is building a city, the second largest city west of the Great Divide in Queensland.
Doing a show in the outback is inherently so much more risky in all sorts of different ways. Just the cost of getting everything there, you've got to bring everything in. The audience itself has to be brought in.
I'm 60 years old now, and I was going to do the normal thing, try and retire a bit early, do a bit of travel, all that stuff. But here I am working my clacker off putting these festivals on year after year. But it's an amazing, amazing thing. I never imagined doing anything like this. As a young person growing up on the northern beaches in the pub rock scene, I'd love to go to pub rock and hear all the great bands. But, as far as music goes, I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, I can't dance. There is not a musical bone in my body. I think I had a pretty vanilla life, you know. The guy lives in the suburbs, works in the city, 3 kids, you know, mortgage, all the normal stuff. I worked in the corporate world for the last 20 years in insurance and managing teams of insurance people. A lot of people say insurance is very boring, and it probably is, but I found it interesting.
Whenever there was an occasion coming up, whether it was a birthday or Father's Day, we'd always know exactly what to buy him. It'd be, you know, the socks or the business tie or the business shirt. He'd be away for, you know, long periods of time. He'd work long days, long hours.
He just started climbing the corporate ladder. He was happy in that career. He loved what he was doing in his career.
Life was going well, kids were healthy, everything was ticking along, but back in 2008, something happened that was ultimately going to change our lives. Steve, our son, started to not be so well. He was getting skinny, he was always thirsty, we didn't know what was going on.
And so I looked in the mirror, you know, with my shirt off, and I just saw, you know, my ribs, and I saw my hips poking out and my shoulder blades, and I looked like a skeleton, and I was taken back. I was like, wow, when did this happen?
So we took him to the doctor. He had a blood test, and he's diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
It was quite devastating at the time. We didn't know much about the disease at all. It was a huge learning curve.
Definitely, as a 14-year-old, it was quite hard for me to receive this news that I had diabetes. It was very difficult getting back into things, and there were some things I couldn't continue doing that I liked to do before.
Type 1 diabetes is an incurable disease. It can severely shorten your lifespan. My heart went out for him.
I think it hit Dad quite hard because I think in that situation he felt very out of control. I think felt like he had a lot of responsibility to be able to look after the family, and in this situation there was nothing that he could do at all. It was the first time that I had seen him crying.
When you see one of your children going through that, you know, you just want to do everything you can do to take it away. This whole thing also, you know, impacted my mental health. I was going through hard times at work and we ended up in some legal cases. And I think everything just got on top of me. And, you know, I don't know whether you call it a nervous breakdown, but things just get too much and you feel like you can't go on.
He was suffering extreme anxiety, which then led to depression. Everything was being affected by this. His relationships with his friends, with his children, with me. He couldn't function at work. So he did agree to go into a mental health facility and he was there for 6 weeks.
The only time you were allowed out, they did let you out to go for a run. That was my thing, get out, go for a run, feel a little bit human and come back.
He got into running in his mid-20s. I really believe that it helps him mentally and it helps him get through his day as well. He needed a goal and a plan. And then he just got thinking more and more about Stephen and how he could help him.
I knew that I was sort of pretty powerless to do anything, you know, in terms of finding a cure or whatever, but I thought, well, how can I help? And that's when the idea came to me to take on a running challenge. So if we're really going to raise some funds, really raise some awareness, you've got to do something, you know, really difficult and really challenging. I learned about a series called the 4 Deserts, where you have to run 250 kilometres across 4 different deserts of the world. And I thought, well, that's it. that's got to be the hardest thing I can find.
Once he did have this idea, it did help him get over this mental block. Did feel like we were getting the happier Greg back.
I thought the idea was crazy, absolutely crazy. And then when he said that, you know, my other brother, Matt, who was 20, I think, 19, 20 at the time, would be going with him, I just thought he was mad. Yeah, I think we all did.
Well, yes, this is it. Here we are in San Pedro, ready for the 2012 Atacama crossing.
I didn't think that he was fit enough, let alone myself. But I could see, you know, how much time and effort he was putting into the planning that I really wanted to be a part of it. The idea was that he would do a world record, essentially, and the world record was to run the 4 Deserts Ultramarathon series in a single calendar year. But not only that, he wanted to have a team do that.
It's like a bloody war out here. Man versus desert. It was really hard. It's the temperature, just keeping your blisters at bay, getting up every day for 6 days and basically running a marathon. It's really not what the human body's designed to do.
It's like a dream come true, really. We've been in a war for a week. Come out the other end, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Not long after that, we took off to China, far western China, to the Gobi Desert.
Right now, I can sing about it. I jumped into a burning ring of fire.
But after about a day or so, my son Matt got really sick.
That was horrible. That was got to be the worst run. Like, guts were feeling really bad. Woke up this morning and I said to myself, if I wasn't dead, then I was going to start the race.
I was at home watching these events from the computer. I felt really sorry for him because, you know, he's out there doing this for me.
In the Sahara, it was Dad's turn to suffer, I think.
I don't cope very well with the heat. I'm sweat profusely.
Oh, bloody tough day at the office today, so... Yeah, I was doing all right, about 28 Ks, and then bang, I just got fatigued and just felt nauseous and ended up in the medical tent on day 1.
How you feeling right now?
Yeah, a little bit nauseous.
Yeah.
I think I'm dehydrated.
We did it.
Congratulations. Wow.
3 out of 4, done, dusted. Hey, 1 to go. Hey.
The temperature at the moment is 1 degree Celsius and looks like it's going to get colder, so please make sure you have all your warm clothes on you.
And within another week, we were off to Antarctica. So we finished all 4 desert runs in 1 year in 2012, knowing that what we were doing was really helping my son Stephen.
I can't believe we've done this.
So I guess what I learned was that you know, I could make a difference. I wasn't as helpless as what I initially thought. I could take action. I could make something happen.
Those don't come easy, I can tell you.
The whole purpose was to raise funds and raise awareness for type 1 diabetes, and we did that. In the end, we raised around about $150,000, which doesn't seem enormous, but we're really proud of what we did. After that, it occurred to me that why isn't something like this in Australia? There's so many deserts in Australia, but nobody was actually doing a run in a desert. So why not? Let's start one up.
I actually told him he should go back to hospital and that he had rocks in his head, because I really didn't think that he would be able to do something like that. But you can't hold Greg back. Once he gets an idea, he will chip away at it until he completes his idea.
And they ran right across there, over to that other side. Sinking in? Yeah, sinking in.
So I turned my mind to where in Australia could we set up a desert run? Probably the most well-known desert or iconic desert is the Simpson Desert. I headed out there myself. I hooked up with the local traditional owner and flew around the desert, had a look around the different places.
My first initial reaction was, this is not going to work. It's hard, it's harsh, it's tough country, and once they see it, they'll, pack up and go home. For running or even walking across it would be madness, but he said, this is just what I need for this run. And, the harder it is, the tougher it is, the better it is.
3, 2, 1.
We managed to put together a 250-kilometre course. We decided to call it the Big Red Run, a fundraiser through the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
I thought I could join them as proof to me that you can still do anything as a type 1 diabetic.
How was that?
Awful.
We also thought, well, maybe we should put on a little bit of entertainment for all of the runners and volunteers who come the whole way to Birdsville. I knew someone who knew John Williamson, and we thought, well, what a great thing it would be to have John Williamson play on top of Big Red.
Thank you, aren't you great? It's fantastic to see so many people come so far. Whirlwind swirls of paper high, same old news all further dry, the broken clouds just passing by, that's my home.
People started contacting us, nothing to do with the run. Is there any way we can come and listen to this? We thought, oh, well, if people are interested, we'll sell a few tickets and help cover some of the costs of all of this.
It was nothing more than just a couple of pallets to make a stage and an amplifier and some speakers and John Williamson on his guitar, and that was it.
There was a lot of people just sitting around on the sand, so the atmosphere was unbelievable, and I thought it was a fantastic idea.
But it just sort of opened our mind to the fact that we could put on a music event in the middle of nowhere and people want to come and buy tickets for it. So in 2014, we ran them as side-by-side events, the running event first and the festival second. Unfortunately, it did not go all that well. I had no idea how much these things cost. It cost us a bucket load. We thought we would get a lot more people, but we had nowhere near enough people to cover the expenses of putting all of this on. We lost a lot of money and, went home with our tail between our legs. I thought, nah, just put that in the too-hard basket. That was a great idea, but let's move on. But then probably about a week after I got home, something big happened.
Dad was still actually doing his day job at that time. He'd be doing emails from work and emails at night time and just doing all this work, all around the clock, and just trying to squeeze it all in.
I got called in the boss's office and out of the blue was made redundant after 20 years with the company, so it's a bit of a shock.
It really wasn't a surprise to me because he'd lost focus on his work job, his day job. His focus was on his charity and that event.
So rather than feeling depressed about it, I thought, well, the upside of being redundant is you get a pocket full of money, and in my case, I probably got around 300,000. And the general advice is you take that money and you put it in a nice safe place, like a balanced superannuation fund. To me, that sounded pretty damn boring. So I thought, well, let's maybe revisit this music thing. if we're going to get this thing to happen, we really need to up the ante. We've got to get some great acts out there. We've got to get some big names that's going to draw the people. And I thought, well, the biggest name in Aussie rock is Jimmy Barnes. So I thought, let's see if Jimmy might want to come out and play the bash.
I thought he was crazy yet again. I was worried he'd end up blowing the whole redundancy payout and sort of not getting anywhere or anything from it.
Really far from sensible. I would advise Greg to put his redundancy money to his retirement plan and not take high risk.
But in my head, I knew that it should work. Why couldn't it work? If they get 7,000 or 8,000 people coming to Birdsville for a horse race, if we put on a great concert, surely people will come.
I'd never heard of Greg Donovan when we received the approach from Birdsville. We had no clue that Greg was, punting his redundancy payout on this show. But the fact that it was in Birdsville, there's something about the tone of the approach that just made it stand out from the hundreds of others that come across the transom.
When we got the word back that Jimmy was going to come out, we were ecstatic. So in 2015, with Jimmy on board and a whole bunch of other great artists, it took off. We got 3,200 people. And we basically covered our costs, which was great. I mean, we weren't losing money anymore, so it was the start of the journey. And we set about then focusing on how we could make it better the next year.
Year on year, it did keep growing and we got bigger names out there and more artists, and year after year it grew and grew and grew.
We ended up, after 2018, dropping the Big Red Run. I think it's became obvious to us more people prefer to come and listen to music in the desert than run 250 kilometres through it.
Greg, he doesn't need all the trappings that everyone thinks a rock promoter has. Much to Greg's wife's dismay, he insists on staying in a caravan on site and he operates from that caravan.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2022 Big Red Bash.
Greg and his team have always been respectful of our need to be consulted and also of our culture.
We acknowledge and thank Greg and his wife.
He's almost like family to us as Indigenous people here in Birdsville. We regard him so highly that we were considering giving him a skin name for this country.
Oh, Missy, good. How you going?
Good.
Welcome back to Birdsville.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a few years, hasn't it?
I know. It's nice and refreshing to kind of come across somebody who's almost gotten here by accident but has done it so incredibly well. What sets him apart is he has grown this very organically out of a love for music and a love for his son and for fundraising.
4, 3, 2, 1,
One of my favourite events is what we call the Bashville Drags. 500 drag queens running down a big red dune. There's nothing else like it.
I think the thing that's great about dealing with Greg is precisely the fact that he doesn't operate like he comes from within the music business. A lot of people who work in showbiz are much slipperier around the edges. And, there's something, I don't know, a little more dependable about how Greg seems to operate.
I came here a few years ago. It was like 3,500 people who wandered by and heard that Greg was putting a gig on. So we'll go and have a look. This is now an event. This is the best festival, I reckon.
11,000 happy campers. It all started with you.
Each year when the event starts, there's a bit of a ritual for our family. We come together at the back of the stage to watch the first act come on stage. It's a really emotional time.
Because if you didn't get type 1, this would never have happened.
Yeah.
So it's like crazy, isn't it?
Getting kicked off. That's great. We're going to go.
Looking like a cracker, crying like a refugee.
You're an honest person. There you go.
I appreciate that.
Running these music festivals have made my family become quite close because we're working with each other every day of the week. We're building something together.
Another day open.
Another day.
Another day.
I wouldn't take it back because of what has come from it and how our lives have turned out now and how we've found such an amazing thing out of it.
This is what you've created and we've created together as a family. It's a proud moment.
Dad is definitely enjoying his new career. He's so passionate about it, and you can see the joy that it brings him. Could never see him back in finance or in the corporate world, that's for sure.
His wardrobe very much changed, yes it did. All the old suits and ties, a lot of them were donated to charity. He had, I think, something like 58 ties. I've got that down to about 15.
But I want to show everybody around the world where the best belongs, here in Birdsville. 25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination.
When I look back at the advice that I was given in 2014 to take my redundancy and put it into superannuation, I know that I made the right decision. Follow your heart and you take those chances and you follow your passion.
Here we go! And so I cried sometimes when I'm lying in bed to get it up. What's in my head and I ain't feeling a little peculiar.
What I've done is the best investment I've ever made. I'm my own boss, I'm my own man, I make my own decisions and I just love what I do.
What's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on?
Call me the accidental music promoter, but really I'm just probably the world's oldest teenager. I mean, this is just party out here, really. Look at this, unbelievable. So cool to have all these people here just having the time of their lives, having a party in the desert.
What's going on? Just you and me. And I'd say, hey, yeah. Oh, put your hands in the air. And I said...